Hey guys, it's Tricky Reborn here, and welcome to my second Q&A. Today I'm gonna answer your questions that you gave to me and have fun with it. 2 months ago I did my first Q&A and I think it went pretty well, so I thought, why not do it again? So now I'm going to answer your questions the best I can. Also, I should note that these are randomly picked. They're not really in specific orders. So with that out of the way, let's start. Virgil Sparta asks, what is your favorite superhero movie? I have a few superhero movies I like, but if I have to pick one, my favorite would have to be Captain America: The Civil War. I don't know why, I just find that so enjoyable every time I rewatch it. This next question is from Lonely Wolf. He asked, what games called, I'm pretty sure he meant to say caught, my attention this year? What animes are you gonna watch this year? For your first question, what games caught my attention? Two that caught my attention. One is Spider-Man PS4, the new one that's coming up, and BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. I'm looking forward to both of these games. I'm mostly looking forward to BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. I even plan on doing gameplay videos on BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. I even plan on doing a top 5 guest characters I want to see in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for both of them. For what animes I'm going to see this year, I'm not really up to date with the animes that are coming this year. But I'll check to see which ones is my best interest to watch. This next question is from L3on G. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name. He asked, who is your favorite Persona character? What would your Persona / Arcana be? For your first question, there is no contest here. Akira Kurusu is my favorite Persona character. And no, I am not calling him by his new name, because honestly I don't like that name. It doesn't fit for him at all. Why did they call him that? But for your second question, what would my Persona / Arcana be? For my Persona, it would have to be a mix between Izanagi and Arson, if that makes any sense. I always saw my Persona as somewhat of a mix between that. As for what my Arcana be, I'm not so sure on that. This next question is from Lamar Kent. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name. He asked, 1. What is your favorite / least favorite season of Death Battle? 2. Should Animation Rewind give Cartoon Fight Club to his younger brother, aka the host of Cartoon Fight Night? 3. Which versus show on YouTube is your least favorite? For your first question, what is my least favorite season of Death Battle? I would have to say season 3 of Death Battle, because there was really nothing interesting about it. Really, the whole season was just 14 episodes. How can you call that interesting? Granted, there was a few good battles like Dante versus Bayonetta, but for the rest, and it was lackluster at the end when you really think about it. But what is my favorite season of Death Battle? I would have to say season 2, due to the fact that I feel like it had the better matchups and the better fights out of them. I just felt like it was the better season in general. Not really in general, but my favorite out of any other season. Like, that season had Wolverine versus Raiden. That's badass when you think about it. For your second question, should Animation Rewind give up Cartoon Fight Club to his younger brother, Cartoon Fight Night? Honestly, I've never heard of Cartoon Fight Night until you mentioned it right now. But if you ask me, Cartoon Fight Club should just give up entirely, because really, it's the worst versus show you'll ever see. No offense to the people who like it. And for your third question, which versus show is your least favorite on YouTube? Honestly, I don't really have one. Well, I guess Cartoon Fight Club, because it's really fucking boring. But yeah. This next question is from Ryuko the Rambus. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. She says, 1. Have you seen Kill la Kill? If so, thoughts? 2. What is one episode of Death Battle that you wish Screw Attack had never made? 3. Out of these 4, who would you rather hang out with the most? Yang the Insane, Red Elastic 98, Azuri, or Virgil Sparta? 4. Would you rather be stuck in a room filled with Angarda Knuckles and viciously splat on, or forced to watch Cinder vs. Meta if Screw Attack made that an actual episode? 5. What 5 requests do you have for future Rewind Rumble videos? For your first question, yes, I've seen Kill la Kill, and it's actually a really good anime. It's also ridiculous as hell, but it's an overall entertaining anime. It's around my 7th favorite anime. 2. What one episode of Death Battle Screw Attack should never made? There's a few that I wish Screw Attack had never made, like Mewtwo vs. Shadows, Zoro vs. Urza, Yang vs. Tifa, and etc., etc. But the most one I wish Screw Attack never made was Meta vs. Carolina. Really, what was the point of that episode? It was pointless. Granted, yes, it was to promote season 14 of Red vs. Blue, but did anyone really ask for that fight? Really, did anyone really requested that? To my knowledge, no one did. For your third question, out of these 4 people, who would I rather hang out the most? Yang the Insane, Red Elastic, Azuri, or Virgil? I want to hang out with all of them a lot. How dare you ruin me with this question? But in all honesty, the one I want to hang out the most would have to be Yang the Insane, due to the fact that my rivalry with her has ended, thankfully. I want to get the chance to know her better, as like friends, something like that. So Yang, if you're watching this video, I'm all forward to the idea of knowing each other. Really. So, yeah. Your fourth question, would I rather be stuck in a room with Angarda Knuckles or forced to watch Cinder vs. Meta? I would honestly want to be stuck in a room filled with Angarda Knuckles. I'd rather constantly hear,
Do you know the way?
Huh? To where?
You do not know the way.
I don't know the way to what? I work here.
You do not know the way.
The way to what?
You do not know the way.
The way to what?
You do not know the way.
Knuckles, what are you talking about?
Do you know the way?
Do I know the way to what?
over and over and over again, then watch Cinder vs. Meta. For your fifth question, what 5 requests of future Rewind Rumble episodes do I want to see? Honestly, I'm not really into Rewind Rumble that much anymore because it really has been going downhill. And I don't really have 5 requests, but to name 3 off the top of my head would have to be Jotaro versus Maka, Dante versus Yuyasha, and Yuva from Persona 4 versus Jokusei from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Those are the 3 I can think of for them to do. But yeah. This next one is from King Ralu the Immortal. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name. He asked, do you know the way? 2. Is there any death battles besides Cinder vs. Meta, Goku vs. Saitama, Blake vs. Mikasa, and Mario vs. Sonic 2? 3. Why were you a salty baby when Ichigo lost against Naruto? For your first question, do I know the way? Sadly, I do not. 2. Is there any death battles besides Meta vs. Cinder, Goku vs. Saitama, Blake vs. Mikasa, and Mario vs. Sonic 2? I honestly don't get this question unless you're saying what are dumb ideas that I don't like besides those 4. I have a list of ideas that I don't like for Death Battle, but I won't really list them because it's kind of a long list and I'm afraid it would drag on a bit too long. So, yeah. And your third question, why was I so salty when Ichigo lost against Naruto? Oh boy, I'm never gonna hear the end of this one. 1, I didn't hate it. I liked the animation. The animation was badass, and there was the funniest moment in the fight was when Naruto went into the sexy jutsu, and Ichigo was just looking at him like, really?
Really?
And the hype of the fight itself was spot on. I would even say it was the most hypest fight I was ever looking forward to in the season besides Virgil versus Sephiroth when it was announced. But my main problem with the fight, that why I don't like it, is because it was boring. There was barely anything interesting with it. Like I said, the animation and the funny moment and the hype was good, but that was all there is to it. When you think of anime characters that have unique abilities that are over the damn top, fighting each other to the point that it's a close fight, you would suspect their abilities to be used to that max potential. And yet this fight didn't do that. It's not because that Ichigo lost or how they downplayed Ichigo and Naruto or they made Ichigo look like a damn fool. My main problem is that the fight wasn't interesting. That's my main problem. Nothing else. I didn't hate the fight. I just thought it was boring. Next question. This one is from Red Elastic 98, and he has 10 questions. I feel like every time I'm going to do a Q&A opening, he's always going to have 10 questions. Red Elastic, damn you to hell. Not really, but you know what I mean. He asked, 1. Have you seen the recent Rewind Rumble episode between Freddy versus Wolverine? If so, thoughts. 2. Will you be taking requests for Death Battle series? My Death Battle series. 3. Have you played Corpse Party yet? If so, thoughts. If not, will you play it? 4. Which Sonic game would you play? Sonic Mania or Sonic Forces? 5. Which Death Battle episode ideas do you think are dumb besides Meta versus Cinder? 6. What is the most annoying video game enemy that you have ever faced? 7. Besides One Piece, what is one anime that you hate that everyone else likes? 8. Will you be making any more Death Battle background music with fan-made Death Battle matchup ideas? 9. What are your thoughts on people still making Five Nights at Freddy's despite Five Nights at Freddy's not being as popular as it used to be? 10. Is this Sparta or is this Patrick? For your first question, Red Elastic, I have seen Freddy Krueger versus Wolverine, and it was alright. The only real problem I have with it is that I felt like the animation was a bit stiff. Not too stiff, but to the point that you can realize it's a bit slow and a bit stiff movements. 2. Will I be taking requests for my Death Battle series? Yes, I even do plan on making a video for people to post their requests for my Versus series matchups. 3. Have I played Corpse Party? If so, thoughts? If not, will you play it? Honestly, I've never heard of Corpse Party before, and I really don't plan on playing it. Probably at one point I will, but that's a huge stretch for me to say. So yeah. 4. Which Sonic game would I play? Sonic Mania or Sonic Forces? Sonic Forces, for one reason only. I never played Sonic Mania. Well, not yet anyways. 5. Which Death Battle episode ideas do I think are dumb besides Cinder vs. Meta? Well, like I said before, I have a list of ideas that I think are stupid, and I don't want to list them here because I feel like it'll drag on a bit too long. But my number one most hated, stupidest idea I've ever seen in my life is Blake versus Mikasa. I swear to God, that fight is going to be the death of me if they ever do it, which I hope they don't. 6 was the most annoying video game enemy that I have faced. If I have to pick one, it would have to be the gun enemies in No More Heroes. I swear they will be the death of you, literally. 7. Besides One Piece, was one anime that you like, I hate, that everyone else likes? There's not really much, but if I have to pick one, and it will have to be Prison Break. I believe that's what the anime is called. It's the most stupidest and dumbest anime I've ever seen in my life. Ask me this. Do you like the idea of 4 people escaping a prison where a bunch of fucked up shit that happens in the anime that to the point that it's disgusting? Like, there's even a point that a guy pees on a girl, for God's sake. How in the hell is that enjoyable again? Thankfully, there is a better anime that is based on prison breaking, which is actually comedic as hell, and it's Nanbaka. What's interesting about that anime is that it's all about references and pretty much jokes, and that's what makes the anime good. It's so funny to the point that you'll be laughing your ass off. 8. Will I be making any more background music of fan-made Death Battle videos? Yes. Hell, even the next one that I plan on doing is Def the Kid versus Raven. So there's your answer. And 9. What are my thoughts on people still making Five Nights at Freddy's, despite the fact that Five Nights at Freddy's are not popular anymore? Honestly, I agree with you. Why are people still making Five Nights at Freddy's even though Five Nights at Freddy's is not popular anymore? No offense to the people who still like it. And 10, is this Sparta or is this Patrick? This is Sparta! Next question. Yarduri Fan 78. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name. She asked, who is your favorite anime psychopath? I don't know much of anime psychopaths due to the fact that I haven't heard about much of them. But the one that I heard of and actually enjoy is Lucy from Elfenland, something like that. I don't know what, I think she's the best anime psychopath in anime. So yeah. Plus her powers are kind of similar, not similar, but kind of like Alex Mercer in a way. So yeah. Next question. This is from William Nee. He asked if Screw Attack were to make another Death Battle episode with a Ruby character, what would you want the matchup to be and why? 2. What's your favorite game show? 3. Who got you inspired into making videos? 4. Which Smash Bros. Character do I play the most? 5. If you watch them, what's your favorite Game Grumps video? For your first question, if Death Battle makes another Death Battle with a Ruby character, what should the matchup be? What would the matchup be and why? Honestly, I think Blake should be the next fighter from Ruby to be in Death Battle, because if they kind of teased her being in the next Death Battle for a Ruby character, so I think she would be the next one. But who would her opponent be? I always saw her opponent to be Yorichi from Bleach. I know some people are probably scratching their heads saying, what the hell does you two have in common? To give the basic rundown, here it is. They are both cats. Well, cat humans in a way. Well, technically, Yoruichi's is a transformation than an actual being, but technically it still counts. They're both skilled at hand-to-hand and using weapons, even though Yoruichi uses melee, mostly just hands and feet. Then any other doesn't really use weapons. They are both fast as hell. If you've seen Bleach and Ruby, you would know what I mean. They are both skilled to the point that they're superhuman, like, and etc. etc. But if the second best idea for Blake besides Yoruichi would have to be Akira Kurusu, due to the fact that they're both thieves in a way. They both have powers and they fight for the greater good and to clear their name by default. So yeah. 2. What is my favorite game show? Honestly, I don't have one. 3. Who got me inspired to make videos? I've said this before in my first Q&A. So I said this in my first Q&A, and it was the Metal Blade 5. I found his videos to be so enjoyable to the point that it got me inspired to do videos. So thank the Metal Blade 5, because if it wasn't for the Metal Blade 5, Shrekky Reborn Studios would never be a thing. I promise you that. 4. Which Smash Bros. Character do I play the most? I never played Smash Bros. Due to the fact I don't have a Wii U. 5. If I watch them, what is my favorite Game Grumps video? I've never really seen Game Grumps. I think I only seen one video of them, and that was it. I don't even remember what the video was. So there. Super Mew asks, 1. What is my thought on Raven versus Twilight? 2. Will I have a Pokemon character in my Versus show? 3. Do you know the way? 4. What is my least favorite video game? 5. What is my favorite game? For your first question, Raven versus Twilight, it was good. I just think Raven should have faced someone better than Twilight. I honestly think Raven should have faced Death the Kid from Soul Eater, because both Death the Kid and Raven have a lot more in common than what Raven versus Twilight wish they had. 2. Will I have a Pokemon character in my death battles? Yes, I do plan on having characters from Pokemon to be in my death battle series. Hell, I even have some ideas for Pokemon characters to fight. So that question is yes. 4. What is my least favorite video game? Honestly, I don't have one. 5. What is my favorite video game? Hands down, no contest, Persona 5. Next, Happy Avenger asks, wanna fight? Meet me in the back alley in 5 minutes. Next question is from Azuri Raphaelos. He asks, 1. Who, in your knowledge, is the most powerful character in fiction? 2. Are you ever going to make Death Battle trailer for Bedman from Guilty Gear versus Porky from Earthbound, or Ness from Earthbound versus Batter from OFF? 3. What's the most disappointing Death Battle, not One Piece related, like Zoro versus Urza? What's the worst video game you ever played? 5. Any games you hyped for this year? For your first question, to my knowledge, the strong, powerful character in fiction? Goku. Goku from Dragon Ball Z is pretty much the strongest fictional character in fiction history, due to the fact that he has so much abilities, so much transformations, to the point that he's pretty much the greatest character in fiction of all, even in anime. Hell, he's even the most relatable, he's the most enjoyable in anime. A lot of people look up to Goku. People get inspired by Goku. Goku inspired a lot of people, to the point that they can see Goku as an inspiration to them to never give up on their dreams, to keep moving forward. And that's why I like Goku. He helped people a lot with inspiration and all that, to the point that you can't hate him at all. I think everyone can agree on me on that. Even Death Battle admitted
Goku's the epitome of a self-made man in spirit and personal goals. He inspires people to work hard to achieve dreams. To many, Goku is proof that there is no struggle that cannot be overcome.
2. Your second question, am I ever going to do Bedman versus Porky or Ness versus Batter? I'm not so sure, because like I said before to you, I don't know who are those characters at all. I don't even know what series they are in. Well, I know you mentioned it, but I never played the series of them. 3. What's the most disappointing Death Battle besides not related to One Piece? Nathan Drake versus Lara Croft was the most disappointing one, in my honest opinion. Because it really wasn't interesting when you really think about it. I thought the trailer was good. The trailer was fantastic for the season 4 premiere. It was fucking phenomenal. 4. What's the worst video game have I ever played? Like I said, I don't really have one. 5. Any games you hyped for this year? Like I said, Blaze Blue, Cross Tag Battle, and Spider-Man PS4. Next one is Apex Predator. He asked, least favorite Season 4 Death Battle. 2. Favorite YouTuber. 3. Least favorite versus debater. For your first question, what's the least favorite Death Battle of Season 4? I would have to give it to 2099 versus Batman Beyond. I felt like the fight was so disappointing, really, to the point that you're like, what the hell happened? Like, in my aftermath, I said, for characters to be from the future that are enhanced versions of their original counterparts, they really didn't get to do much in this fight at all. Hell, I don't even think the fight even lasted for 3 minutes. That's how disappointing it is. They didn't really get to do much. From the moment they say fight to KO, the fight was so damn short. For your second question, what is my favorite YouTuber? like I said in my first Q&A, the Metal Blade 5 is my favorite YouTuber. But I don't want to repeat myself again. So for my second favorite YouTuber would have to be Yang the Insane. Yang the Insane is my second favorite YouTuber. Even when we had the rivalry, I never disliked her at all. She's always my second favorite YouTuber. And for your third question, least favorite versus debater. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, what I'm about to say. But my least favorite versus debater is Jar Jar. I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that name right. But honestly, I don't think he's a good versus debater. I feel like he takes his opinions as facts a bit too much. I'm not sure if he does this intentionally, because he even said in some of his predictions that he was a bit biased towards one character than the other. Like in his Virgil versus Sephiroth prediction, that he said that he was biased to Sephiroth than Virgil. Like I said, I'm not sure if he does this intentionally, but I think he just takes his opinions as facts a bit too much. But that's just me. So, last question is from Billy Bob. Billy Bob asks, why do I get so salty when people want Meta versus Cinder? Honestly, I thought Yang the Insane would ask me that question. I really thought she would. But it turns out that I'm wrong on that. But anyways, why do I get salty when people want Cinder versus Meta? It just doesn't make for battle at all. Due to the fact that Red versus Blue versus Ruby works so differently, to the point that it's hard to even compare. Take for example Yu-Gi-Oh versus Pokemon. Pokemon doesn't have attack or defenses like Yu-Gi-Oh does, and Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have resistances and something else like Pokemon does. And it's really pointless to compare the two because of how different they were.
And after that moment, I always looked back on it and thought, how would Pokemon versus Yu-Gi-Oh work? Pokemon don't have attack and defense points, and dual monsters don't have type weaknesses and resistances. And I think that perfectly sums up the issue with the video. While both series have a similar premise, they do things so differently that I think they're both hard to compare and say which is better.
And that's how it is for Ruby versus Red versus Blue. It's literally Yu-Gi-Oh versus Pokemon. Because of how different they work, it wouldn't work for a battle at all. Second, the whole idea of the Cinder versus Meta, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. Hell, I even get the connection of Meta versus Cinder. But in execution, it kind of makes it a bit one-sided. Well, from my perspective. Because I see it like this. The whole Ruby universe can solo the shit out of Red vs. Blue's universe. Due to the fact that Red vs. Blue, it doesn't really take things seriously. Yeah, there is some fights that are pretty much fights that are taken seriously in the characters. But most of the time, 90% is just jokes. When Ruby, it's all fighting. except for Volume 5 where they just keep talking. And I'm not against to the idea of Cinder versus Meta. It just wouldn't work for a death battle at all. Hell, I'll say this. If this was a DBX, I'll be perfectly fine with that. I'm all up to the idea of Cinder vs. Metal as a DBX. I'll be perfectly fine if this was a DBX episode, because it'll just be picked randomly, and there won't be that much of a chaos if they ever do that fight. It will work so much better for a DBX than a death battle. I'm all for to the idea. I really am. I want to see a DBX of Cinder vs. Meta. I feel like that would work so much better than any other idea. Than any idea for Cinder versus Meta for a death battle. I just don't want to see Cinder versus Meta as an actual death battle. And for people that say I'm against the I'm against the ideas of Red versus Blue versus Ruby. If I'm against Red versus Blue versus Ruby debates, then why is my most wanted fight of Red versus Blue versus Ruby Pyrrha versus Carolina? Ask me that. How is Pyrrha versus Carolina my most wanted Ruby versus Red versus Blue debate fight? Even though I think the winner is obvious, because you're having a person that controls metal versus a person that is wearing and using weapons as from metal. That's why I don't want to see Cinder versus Meta, because it wouldn't work for a battle. It really won't. There are so much better ideas for Cinder to begin with, like Infinite from Sonic Forces, Nero from Devil May Cry 4, or anyone else that you can think of. There are so much better ideas for Cinder that makes it much of a perfect idea. That's why I don't want to see Cinder vs. Meta as an actual death battle, because it wouldn't work. If it's a DBX, I'll be all for it. I'll be all forward to the idea of Cinder vs. Meta as a DBX. I would have no problem with that at all. But anyways, that was my list of Q&As that I've got, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. But until the next video, I'll see you guys next time.